we could also create safe spaces for trans women and trans men, which are needed.
Hmm.
I think I'm all for a third or fourth bathroom option. I think this is stuff, especially in the developed world where this is prevalent, we can do this stuff.
Hmm.
It's not an issue. But we've just got to work together with it. That's always my thing with trans people. I always say when they are attacking me, I try to explain to them, the feminists are on your side. We want you to be who you want to be. We're totally fine with that. We want you to be safe. We just want it all based in reality and that you understand that you can't change your biological sex. That's what it comes down to because of
Hmm.
how much it affects women.
Hmm. 100%. Are you worried at all about like losing your app, getting removed from the app store, or losing your hosting or anything like that?
No, no, few reasons. One is we are essentially as inclusive as one could possibly be. I mean, when this is the other thing when we are attacked for being transphobic or trans exclusionary, trans identifying females are welcome on Google. It's just males. Um, if any, it's the other thing as well that people seem to forget. There's lots of apps for different demographics of people. I mean, we've all existed and gotten on with our lives pretty well, knowing that Grindr is out there, and there's like it's not. I've never been like, oh, Grindr has to include me. No, we know
Hmm.
exactly who it's for, and that's fine. There's apps based like, for dating based like solely on religion. There's Jewish dating apps, there's Muslim dating apps, Christian dating apps. So to do anything for like and go after a female app, you would then have to you'd have to apply it to all of the other apps that are out there. And then in terms of our like hosting and stuff like that, we were very smart about how we do well, that sort of stuff. That's all I'll say.
Oh, good, good. Yeah, because you don't really think about that until you saw what happened with Parlor, and when that got taken, I think it might be back up. I haven't checked, but
On its way, I think. I
is
haven't
it?
checked in the last few days. Yeah, we have. So I like I always say this to people, and especially like there'll be like tech men who come after me, and they talk to me and they treat me. It's like they think I coded Giggle, and I'm like, oh, no, I don't even talk to the coders most of the time. My dad works at Giggle. He's our intern. He's intern fairy, because he understands tech language. I do
Mm,
not. If you put me in a room talking to the coders, I mean, we speak completely different languages to each other. They
hmm.
don't understand my colorfulness, and I don't understand their completely dry language. We're like almost two different species. And so my dad is the one who project manages them and works with them every day because he's the filter that I go through,
Hmm.
and he knows how to filter the lunacy that I go on about. Um, so yeah, so I didn't code it. I didn't write the algorithm. I'm not a math scientist. I I wanted to create an app for women and then found the amazing people who could help make that happen. And it's just so lucky that a friend of my dad's actually um, is a back end and algorithm builder man. I don't know.
He's the techie.
Yeah, and so he does all of that. And so he was when we were working out and sort of, you've got to work out obviously what the app is going to be, but then you've got to work out how you're going to actually build it and map all of that out. And he made some absolutely brilliant decisions along the way of that. So, for example, the problem with Parler, what their big issue was, is when Amazon Web Services dropped them. It's because you can, when you're doing your back end, you can use Amazon's code, all of that sort of stuff. So
Mm.
then you've used all of that. That's going to change sort of the relationship or what the control they have over your platform. We don't have that.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
because that's a lot of control, right? Because it's like, well, private companies can do what they want unless it goes against the narrative. Because I would assume a lot of the people that are yelling at you were probably cheering when Trump got booted off Twitter.
That's the thing. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
100%. Yes. There was someone the other day that like a trans woman who did a post and tagging in Apple support saying, this should be removed. It does, they do say it.
Mm-hmm.
And two things. One, I do step in and have a conversation and say like, no, there are apps for trans people.
Mm-hmm.
There's three biggest ones. There's Tammy, TS, and I think one's just called straight up trans.
Mm-hmm.
They named it anything other than what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So they would have to remove them. And no, I'm completely in support. I think it's fantastic. That is actually what is needed. I think trans people should be able to connect.
100%.
Different experiences and it's such a unique journey that I'm never going to be able to comprehend. And then also I've met through Twitter, like the Buck Angel and so many other amazing transgender people who come in and support and put some trolls in their place when they come after me, which I'm just forever grateful. There's one, she's asked to be called a transsexual woman, so I always do. Her name's Naya. I think she's in Scotland. One of the funniest people I've ever met. And whenever trolls are coming after me, I'm always just like, Naya, can you please jump in here? And she's like, and she's like my little trans fairy who comes in and like tells people like, no, this is how it is. But she gets so much hate. It's just and blocked by like someone will call me anti-trans, and then she'll come in and say, no, she's not. I'm 30 years into my transition. I know what I'm talking about. And then the person will block her. And I'm like,
do you think that they're actually, the people that are yelling at everyone, are they actually part of that community, or they're just jumping in and trying to claim it?
Well, as I said, so when you've got, like, say, if it's just like a little random Twitter troll, I don't really care. But like, say yesterday, it was a journalist that called me anti-trans. And so Naya jumped in and went, how dare you say that? Then that journalist blocked Naya. And I'm like, but you're blocking her. You're not listening to her. And she just has a different perspective. She just has a different opinion. She just hasn't adhered to some of the dogma that you are. She's still trans. If that's what we're
not
going
the
for,
right kind, though.
Yeah, but it's like, if we're going for trans rights here, and trans rights are human rights, isn't part of the rights of trans rights to be able to think for yourself and be your own person and not adhere to ideology? I mean, that's a pretty basic right, because this is one of the things we were just going back to what we were saying earlier, with the trans rights thing. Trans people have rights. They're very, very protected.
I would say, I don't know anyone that's like saying like, let's take those away. Like,
No.
I don't know, maybe I live in like a bubble, but I don't see that.
The only rights they don't have universally are to be included in women's spaces and women's sport. It's changed a little bit now with the executive order in the US in terms of sport, which, like, I'm like, Biden, I'm on your side. And that's the first thing you do. It's devastating.